The story of Krazy Joe was torn from yesterday's headlines, and it's as terrifying as tomorrow's.
Good morning. Welcome back to Krazy Joe's Concession Stand. I'm Krazy Joe. Today I want to talk to you about Mickey 17. Mickey 17 is a new sci-fi movie which is out in theaters now, starring Robert Pattinson. This movie's got pretty good reviews, and it is about a quote-unquote expendable, which is a crewman played by Robert Pattinson, who goes off on a space mission, but he's signed up to be an expendable. And what that means is he's signing up to frequently die. The whole compromise being he gets to go on this mission, and whenever there's a dangerous situation, they will send him to his death in order to learn more and clone him, bring him back. So we're following number 17, the 17th Mickey, and something happens and Mickey doesn't die. But they've already activated his clone Mickey 18, so he gets back to the ship, and there's already a Mickey 18 there, and there's a law that you cannot have duplicates. That's the premise, and I have to say this is a fairly disappointing film. I thought the trailers were great. In fact, I think I put it on my list of my most anticipated films of the year. If I go back, check the list, I think this was on here. It's from the director of Parasite, and he's a good director. But here's the problem. I felt like I've seen this story before. This story, I can think of at least two examples where I've seen this story before. One that comes to mind was on one of my all-time favorite TV shows, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. There was an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine this is season 4 through 6. In season 7, there is an episode called Treachery, Faith, and the Great River. Treachery, Faith, and the Great River. We know from like season 3 or 4, we know that the Vorta are clones. The Vorta are an alien race that's part of the Dominion. They're clones bred to be subservient to the founders. And the main Vorta we follow on the show is named Weyoun, played by the great Jeffrey Combs, who is actually, if you watch my live streams, Jeffrey Combs is in the intro to my live streams. I interviewed him on this channel, and you can find that interview. I love Jeffrey Combs, great actor, but he plays Weyoun, and Weyoun is a clone. And in season 7, they did an episode called Treachery, Faith, and the Great River, in which Weyoun 6, every time a Weyoun dies, they activate the next Weyoun, just like Mickey in the movie. And Weyoun 6 is a defective Weyoun clone. And because he's defective, they immediately activate Weyoun 7. And Weyoun 6 is trying to defect the Dominion and go to Captain Sisko and the crew of Deep Space Nine and help them out. And the Dominion wants to catch him. They don't want one of their Weyouns, one of the Weyoun clones, going to the other side because this is a defective clone. And all through Mickey 17, I kept thinking about Weyoun 6, and I kept thinking Weyoun 6 did this better than Mickey 17. Also, a little movie from 2009, great sci-fi movie starring Sam Rockwell called Moon. Also had a similar concept where he's an astronaut in space, but we find out that he is part of a series of clones. And when one dies, they just activate the next one. The difference with Moon is Sam Rockwell does not know he's a clone. I'm sorry if you didn't see Moon, spoiler, on an almost 20-year-old movie. I don't know what to tell you. It's almost 20 years old. But the point is, we've seen this story with Mickey 17 before. The more interesting side of Mickey 17 is, they're really pushing in the advertising the clone element. But there's a secondary story that I think is actually the more interesting story that kind of elevates the film. And that is there is an alien race of bugs that the crew thinks we got to exterminate these bugs. They're man-eaters. But maybe they're not. Maybe they are a sentient being. Maybe they're intelligent. And that's, we get that ethical quandary of, well, who are these creatures that they call what do they call them? The creepers? who are the creepers? Who are they really? Do they mean us any harm? And you have that moral dilemma in the film as well. And that, to me, is more interesting than the clone stuff. Moon and Deep Space Nine did the clone stuff way better than Mickey 17. But Mickey 17 does tell a pretty good story with the ethical quandary of these creatures, the creepers. I mean, we've kind of seen that on Star Trek before, too, though. The alien race that turns out is sentient. Like, look, I'm wearing a Discovery shirt. On Discovery, they did a storyline about a tardigrade that was being used to power the spore drive, and they found out that the tardigrade was actually a sentient being. So I kind of feel like all these concepts are things we've seen before, and Mickey 17 doesn't really do any of them great. I cannot really recommend Mickey 17. I would give this maybe 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's not a terrible movie, but it's just a lot of recycled ideas. I'm really disappointed in Mickey 17. I don't hate it, but it's not great. It's not, and it's also like 2.5 hours long, or 2 hours and 17 minutes. That's a long runtime for a movie that doesn't have that much to say that's original. Maybe if it were new ideas, it would be one thing, but it was almost 2.5 hours of kind of recycled ideas. I kept looking at my watch and thinking this movie could be a lot shorter. This runtime, the story doesn't support the runtime. So, yeah, terribly disappointed in Mickey 17, but what did you think? Tell me down below. Did you see it? Do you want to see it? Let me know. All right, everybody, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open it, a trap.
Oh no,
it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander adamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.